It's maddening. The world only knew the lengths to which I have gone to help achieve its destiny. Humanity would acknowledge me as its rightful leader. Perhaps painful. Rather than have their open acceptance and adulation, I am forced to dupe the masses into submission. Yes, welcome to the world. May I help you? I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
Kior was a city of a priesthood of Atlantis on Undal, the island just opposite of Unal. There were two cities, or rather two divisions of one great city that covered the island. The island was entirely surrounded by terraced walls and divided across the center by a high wall. Kior faced Undal and was occupied by the priesthood, while the other side of the island was known as Chien and was occupied by the philosophic and scientific groups. Now, that's a definition of our brain, folks. Now, I'm getting at right here what I'm trying to accomplish here by doing this video is explaining to you what Atlantis really was, okay? Half of the word Kior is key, and it's a good place to dig potatoes, but that's Kansas. But I mean, it's from the other part, which remains. You know, that's what key is, okay? Or means a conjunction either or, and then Middle Dutch, it means, you know, whatever. But word forming element making nouns of quality, state, or condition. Orium, or, you know, it's related to or either, okay? Chi means X. The letter is shaped like an X, and it used figuratively to signify such a shape. So it's the cross. It's the cross. N means the name of the letter N, or half as wide as an M, and then French in, or as. So as across, or in across, or near, or at, or in, or on, or without. But it's across. It's in, on, within, across. Now, what that's explaining is, you know, just like everything else in our paradigm, that our brains, this is wild, our brains are two sides surrounded by high walls, which is the skull, and separated by two halves, just like the heart and the mind. And they both have aspects of the same. You know, they're Kior and Chien are the philosophical and the scientific and the priesthood on one side. So it's actually talking about several things just in that little paragraph. It's our mind is the male aspect, or the philosophical, scientific, and the priesthood, meaning the divine side. And it's telling us that our heart and mind are the same thing. Okay? And then it goes on to say the mighty ones referred to were the adepts of Atlantis, and they were the 13 in number. Thotmes was the father of Thoth, was the head of the chief of the 13. They operated on the principle of what later became the Great White Lodge, which is finding the white light, which is finding the light, the allspark, the prima mobile, the prima materia, the macroprosopis. They knew the way to the halls of Amenti, where for a time they would lie beneath the flower of life and rejuvenate their bodies. So that's telling us that we go to the light. It's like this: if you die before you die, when you die, you don't die. You understand what that means? Unlike the masters, they did not leave their bodies. there while they were incarnated in other bodies, but only bathed in the fire of life and renewed their bodies. Thoth himself had descended to Amenti 1,000 times. He renewed his body. And then it goes on to say that the people of Thoth were not the mass of Atlanteans, but the group which lived on Undal and comprised the scientific, philosophic, and priest class. That's the threefold nature. Okay, that's the mind, body, and spirit. Okay, and that's the three. There's always the three. It's always in all creation and everything. It's just the three. So that's what they're talking about there. They had learned to seek knowledge at its source, the Akashic records. The children of light came among them and taught at times and taught them wisdom which enabled them to take the next step forward. The power of the eternal fire was the fire of the universal consciousness. That is what Phil is. Phil is a child of light. He is showing us the way. This is incredible. Thotmeh's father of Thoth was the priest, the high priest of Undal, the mouthpiece of the children of light, and the dweller on Undal to the kings of the peoples of the islands. Now, do you understand that that's what our the 12, the 13? It's not only saying that the 12 and 13 are the horoscope, but it's the cranial nerves in our head. That which is above is also with that which is below. That which is below is also that which is above. That which is within is also without. That without is also within. That's what all that means, folks. So Atlantis is actually our mind. It's an allegory, or it's just another layer of the onion. Thoth was taught the mysteries which had been retained in the secret archives of the temple. He had developed in the past to such a degree that he readily grasped the truths which were taught him. That's what Philip is. The desire for ultimate knowledge aroused such tremendous forces and placed him on such a plane of vibration that the dweller became conscious of him. That's what attaining the light is becoming conscious. When he becomes conscious of us, that we're getting there, that is when you make the connection. The dweller did not have the form or shape that man has, but occupied a body similar to the bodies occupied by consciousness. During the earliest part of the first cycle, the globular body, which is the black hole at the middle of our galaxy. And then that's personified by the trapezium and all that, The light and force emitted by such a body was too great for the average human to stand. Only a consciousness on a high plane of vibration could stand it and still remain material. That's what the children of light do, is they ready us for that. The dweller could see in Thoth, one who was ready to have the spark of light fanned into a flame. The arousing of the flame brought to Thoth life, stronger than the life of ordinary men. For as he grew in knowledge, he was shown the path to the halls of Amenti, where the flower of life force on this planet is concentrated. That's what Phil is doing. That's how he came to us. But we can all attain that. We're all particles in the great scheme of things. We're all we're all the same. We can attain what Phil's got. Do you understand the meaning of this? Standing before the lords of life and death, he received the key of life and death, with power to take up life and lay it down at will. If you die before you die, when you die, you don't die. And he says that's a famous saying, but I've never heard that. With the obtaining of power over life and death, Thoth was able to lay down his body and at will travel to the farthest extensions of the space-time. That's exactly what Phil said. After tasting of the wisdom of the cosmos, he found that it was centered in the hearts or minds of men. There he found greater mysteries, for it is through men that the cosmos extends into unexplored territory. This is amazing. I'm sorry. And here I'm going to explain what's going on our planet. And it's just in another paragraph of the same tablet. The later wave of consciousness was such that they could not be trusted with the science and wisdom of the earlier Atlanteans. That means the technology we have right now is overgrowing the capacity of us to be able to deal with it. So the dwellers spoke the word of power, which was heard by the lords of the cycles, dwelling in Amenti, and they, hearing, directed the balance of the earth into new channels, causing the land to sink, carrying with it the science and knowledge which the mass of people had. That's what the cycle is, folks. That is what the macrocosmic cycle on our, not macro, but I mean in our earth cycle. That's what happens. We outstrip our planet. We outstrip our ability to keep up with our technology. And there's not enough enlightenment. There's not enough children of light here to maintain it. The science and knowledge which the mass of people had. This knowledge, though nothing in comparison to the knowledge of the children of light, was yet too great to remain in the hands of the undeveloped ones. The flower of fire is not in the flower of fire of life, but the pyramid of cold fire, which is the balance of earth. Do you understand what that means? The flower of fire is not in the flower of the fire of life, but the pyramid of cold fire, which is the balance of the earth. Because there's a flower of light, there's a flower of life, and there's a cold flower or fire, which is the balance of earth. So, and that's the flower of fire. The flower of fire is not in the flower of the fire of life, but the pyramid of cold fire, which is the balance of the earth. That is what it is, folks. Our ruckus is not only causing the resonant frequency to get out of whack, but that's precisely what it's doing. We've outstripped our ability to control. We're undeveloped. We're not developed enough in mind and spirit to maintain our technology versus the natural. I'm going to end this lesson here, but that's what it is. Atlantis is our mind on the micro as it pertains to our human form. There may be manifestation of Atlantis on the planet, just like the Kether is in heaven, the crown, which I found manifest in, oddly enough, the trapezium open star cluster, which is a black hole as well. Do you understand what this is? I'm just about ready to just, whoa. There's the scroll, baby. Tell me what you guys think. Thank you. In that day shall there be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. Thanks. Much love, peace, chicken grease. Remember, mighty spirit of light that shines through the cosmos, draw my flame closer in harmony to thee. Lift up my fire from out of the darkness. Magnet of fire that is one with thee all. Lift up my soul, thou mighty and potent. Child of the light, turn not away. Draw me in power to melt in thy furnace. One with all things, and all things in one. Fire of the life strain, and one with the brain. Pray ye that prayer for attaining of wisdom. Pray for the coming of light to the all. And know ye not, man, that out of the darkness light shall flame forth, a symbol of all. Consciousness free is fused with the cosmic, one with the order and law of the all. Spark of the flame art thou, O my children, burning with color and living with music. List to the voice, and thou shalt be free. I love you all.